What's up guys, Jordan from Bennett's Customs. We are, you guessed it, back on the race car. Yeah, 40 days, I think, pretty close to. So, yep, it's tightening down now. Now it's time to get it done. No more fluffing about. As you saw in the last video, we got the side quarter panels all finish welded, hammered out. They look awesome. We got the lower portions and rivets finished where it does mount to the frame, which I'm really happy with. And on this episode, I'm gonna try and just steel out this outline. And once that's finished, then I'll just kind of dip into a few more things. Maybe the structure for the side steer that's gonna come out the cowl. We need to obviously have something for that to attach to, so I do need to make something in there. May measure some ideas up for a possible rear hoop for a roll bar just behind me. You know, just a real tight, narrow 180-degree one that just kind of pokes up just to save my head in case of, you know, the inedible that we don't want to happen. We're gonna get this all done, steeled out, and just continue ticking those boxes. Also, this one's pretty close to home. I just wanted to do a shout out to Roy Kelly, who is back home in Canada in the interior. I know battling through cancer is definitely one of the most difficult things you could be going through. And I know you watch the channel a lot, and as an avid car guy and stock car racer, just hope the channel is, you know, giving you some good entertainment. And yeah, just wanted to wish you all the best through your fight. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, hit that notification button. Let's get to work. All right, so I have a bit of an idea. I got this 20 by 20 by, I think it's 1.6 square tubing. I'm gonna use this as my kind of edge all the way around here. I'm definitely doing it the hard way. I've kind of cut and spliced, and then I'm gonna weld these up, finish it, and then I gotta cut and splice the opposite side and pull it in. Plenty of different ways I could have done that. Probably should have used the round stock that's sitting down on the ground. Would have been way easier. Just heat it up with the torch. Or the bender, but I've lent the bender out and it hasn't come back yet, so I've kind of stitched myself up there. So yes, I'm doing it the hard way, but it's okay. It's totally fine. I'll just weld these all up, finish it all off, you won't even know. Oh, I want to try this tip. Really want to show you this tip. This is insane. I'm gonna bring you over and I'm gonna show you something really cool that I just saw. Okay, I just have to show you this tip. I'm very excited about it. It's actually crazy. So in the last video, I mentioned that I use 032 or 030, I think it's 032, wire, or 0.8, 0.9. Anyways, when you pull it off the thing, I've never noticed this, and I've literally just saw it on Instagram. I have to give a huge shout out to Fred Flitzifub. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's from Germany. An incredible metal shaper. If you want to follow a dude, he is absolutely incredible. That's his information right there, if that does focus. Anyways, I saw something he had and it blew my mind, and I'm gonna show you right now. So for everyone using MIG wire straight out of the thing, I usually just sit there and I'll go through and bend, you know, sometimes I'll just grab like 4 or 5 and I'll bend them somewhat straight, and I just kind of work with it. Check this out. Put one end in the vise, clamp it down nice and tight. The chuck on my drill is pretty worn out, so it actually doesn't grab the whole, or just the wire itself, so I have to fold an end, but that's okay, takes a second. Take your drill, put it into the chuck, get it so it's nice and tight, and spin it. And you'll start to like feel it, like you can feel it spinning, obviously. So I'll just do a little bit more. That's probably good. Watch this. Look at that. Perfectly straight. Ready to go. Just sit there and dab it in. Absolutely incredible. I'm really excited about that. So now I just do it to all my pieces. I'll never need to go and buy them anymore. Just spend heaps of time doing this, cutting a whole roll of MIG wire up. It's bloody perfect. Anyways, back to regular programming. All right, gonna tack these ones into place. Basically all I'm doing is making a bunch of pie cuts. I'm tacking them into place where I'm happy with the bend, and then I can kind of keep moving, cutting it up more and more as we go. Right, as you can see, I have it clamped down. I'm gonna weld these up now, and then we're gonna put it back in and cut it and form it the opposite way. So lots of work. Yes, I know there's plenty of different ways of doing this, but I'm gonna try it this way.
Come all you young rounders, and a story I'll tell of the promise of heaven and the warning of hell. Take heed where you ramble, or too soon you will go. Way up on the hillside where the new flowers grow.
All right, it is the next morning. Yeah, got a little sidetracked on it and did some other stuff, but bear with me. The door is super loud. There's about, I think it got to 59 knots last night, which is around 100 plus kilometers an hour, the winds. We have like a 7.6 meter swell, and yeah, the winds are crazy. So hopefully we're gonna go sneak a surf soon. Last night, while the camera was charging, I was actually able to get one side kind of welded in. So I will explain what I've done for the other side, and you'll be able to see exactly how I did it. But basically, this is kind of what we're trying to achieve. So we have a really nice edge, comes up, over and down. I've used silicon bronze to tack it in just because it does burn at a lower temperature than regular mild steel, so hopefully less warpage. But it's also, mainly I just really like using it because, you know, this isn't a crazy structural piece, so it's okay to use this, and it blends so nice. So it doesn't take a lot of sanding or heat, you know, like, you know, when you are sanding and using a disc, if you are pushing hard, you're actually going to apply a fair bit of heat. So this stuff doesn't. So you can see here, I've actually already kind of sanded it. See if I can get that to focus. but it's like a seamless right over, and it just like, I don't know, looks really nice. And as you can see in here, haven't quite fully finished it or blended it yet, where the original welds have been done. You can kind of see why I did the pie cut. It does have like, you know, it bends this way and this way, like it's like almost a two-dimensional bend, or almost three-dimensional. But I did want to keep, you know, this flat edge all the way up, and then we'll transition into this one. So I've just made this for the top one, and that one's going to go up in here. So we will trim and fit, make this one go. And what I'll do is I'll just trim this one back, and then this one will kind of blend into it, and we'll blend the two into one. So it just looks like one continuous, you know, piece that goes all the way around. This works, you know, for people that don't have benders, you can do this. I wouldn't suggest it for doing like crazy structural pieces, but you know, this isn't really a crazy structural piece. It's just to try and kind of finish this off and, you know, put an edge on this. You know, it'll just give a little something to attach if I do decide to make like a little wall in here to kind of separate myself from the tank and battery and that. But otherwise, it'll totally do the job. So let's get into the other one. As you just saw before, I've mocked it up on this one. We got it welded. So now we're just going to finish welding this side, and then we'll try and get the contour right. So we'll do this one and then work along that. And I did slightly shape it this way as well. So it does kind of have like a really nice contour that falls off the cowl out to the back, which is really cool. I think it flows really nicely. It just finishes it off. So this is the other one that matches. I have done this side. These ones kind of pressed in. I had the vice grip on it when I was tacking, and obviously it got warm. Totally fine though, because it is on the inside. But what I'll do is just I'll just stitch these all. We'll just quickly blend this, and then we can go and put it up, hold it into place, and start bending it the other way.
The courting was brief. Well, they called her a beauty. They called him a thief. In the quiet of the evening, they'd steal away where the laughter would flow.
Extremely time consuming, but it does work, which is great. So this I'll let cool down before I pull it out of the vise, just so it kind of stays in the same spot. I have watched it, and it doesn't want to spring either way if I let it fully cool down, which is good. So then what I'll do is I'll end up just sanding this flat, and then we'll pull it in. So while this one's cooling down, we're going to jump over to here. We're going to trim this one out, and then we're going to see if we can get this one to fit roughly.
The kisses, honey. I'll bring the wine. Keep your heart guarded, or too soon it'll fall. When one walks back home, honey, only one knows it all. Well, she walked up the hillside alone one day. Heart is a hunter, always knows of its prey. And her father's old pistol hanging loose by her side. When she aimed once,
So
never shot.
we got our other piece kind of mocked up where we want it. Everything sits relatively nice. This edge is just kind of have to be rolled over a little bit, you know, obviously because that is square and this is not. So that's all right though. I'm just going to do a few tacks of the silicone bronze, and then I'll just kind of hammer the edge down a little bit, get it nice and tight before we fully weld it. Right now I'm just working with the other piece that we've made. So basically I have the contour of this way, the side, and now I need to roll this in. So we're gonna do that now. I'm gonna trim the bottom of this one out, And one thing too is what I kind of thought about prior to actually cutting these is because we want it to fall directly straight, you can't just go and make, sorry, let me just put this over down here. You can't just go and make random cuts, you know, all the way through here. If you did that, they're gonna wanna, it's gonna wanna curve to the way those cuts are gonna fall. So if you were to, like, you know, make a line, those two pieces are gonna pinch together evenly. So what you have to do, if I have a pen, so what I mean by that is basically all the lines that we're gonna have to cut are gonna have to be parallel to this. So they're gonna come off, and, you know, basically our first cut's gonna start like that. And then we're gonna have another one, and so on. So these are all running parallel with this frame. And what that means is that when this folds in, it's gonna fold in evenly and square. So we're gonna do some measurements. I'll wipe these off and we'll just run a line across that and then get them marked out, cut, and then we'll start to bend this in. So take our trusty angle finders. From doing the other one, I kind of have an idea where it's gonna go. How did I do this before? Okay, so we're square on there. Then we're gonna put this along and we're gonna draw a line. Now we know that that line is gonna be parallel with this. And then, you know, you could keep doing it that way, but I'm pretty confident if I get this lined up properly that I'll be able to, oop. Something like that, roughly. Okay, so now we're gonna trim these. That's gonna start to pull this in, and we should hopefully get an idea of where these are gonna go. So we got this one welded in, silicon bronze. This one took a little bit more heat. I think I just wasn't fully controlled on the pedal like usual. So, but that's okay. It'll clean up really nice. So I'm just gonna sand this all up, blend it in, and then we'll continue onto this side.
I used to have a job, but I got laid off. I used to have a wife, but she said she had enough. I used to have a car, but it got repossessed. It seemed the Lord had found someone he likes to test. I've lost all a man could lose, that's why I sing the blues. found. I used to have money to buy what I need. Now the only thing I got is an alimony bleed. Got nothing but bad news. That's why I sing the blues. Had a mother and a father, but I was disowned. A sister and a brother who won't pick up the phone. I used to have friends who listened to my plight. Now they all stay clear out of sight. Seems all that remains is a noose. That's why I sing the blues. Seems all that remains is a noose. That's why I sing the blues. Seems all that remains is a noose. That's why I sing the blues.
On the road, headed back to New Orleans, driving in the country past old-timey scenes. Big birds were singing in the tall willow trees, mighty fine. 3 words written on a paper bag. I miss you was written in a message in black, thrown in a van 2,000 miles back, a better time. And how many souls and times that I've told of places that I'd wanna be, and how many days when I could have stayed instead of just getting up to leave. And given we make time, I'll meet you down the line. A long coat walking on a New York street, a pack of crushed cigarettes that fell to her feet. Well, ain't it odd how some people meet? But that's the truth. And 2 pictures buried in a guitar case, underneath the music sheets all over the place. I caught a glimpse of the sweetest girl's face
Okay,
I ever knew.
we have one side welded it the whole way. One long big pass, silicon bronze. Had to put a little bit of heat in this area, a little bit more than I wanted to, but there was just a little bit of an area I needed to kind of fill up. But that's all right. Don't know if that'll focus, but you can kind of get the idea. Got it. All the way. Welded. And there was no real distortion this way or this way. It still kind of kept its shape from coming this way, so that was a good thing. So now let's go on to the other side. We'll do a full pass on that, and then we'll get on to sanding the whole lot and finish it off.
But that's the truth. And 2 pictures buried in a guitar case, underneath the music sheets all over the place. I caught a glimpse of the sweetest girl's face I ever knew. And how many souls and times that I've told of places that had like to be, and how many days when I could have stayed instead of just getting up to leave. And given we make time, I'll meet you down the line. And all the days from now to then, if they never seem to come or to go, will find me in your memories that keep you from getting so low. And given we make time, I'll meet you down the line. Down the line, we'll meet up down the line. Down the line.
Well, that's a wrap. Another job, totally finished. Super happy with the way it's turned out. At least it gives it, you know, a little bit of structure all the way around. And it just, yeah, gives it that really nice outline. And this thing is so rigid now, nothing is moving. So it's, yeah, really, really happy with it. What I'll do here is I'll probably cut this kind of in this curve and blend it right into that. So it kind of goes, you know, quite seamless. But I'm really happy with it. It's, yeah, exactly what I was trying to do. So on to the next job. Car's back on the stands. After welding those two big, large passes on the structure bit of the body, I was bent over, and after surfing, my back was absolutely crook. So I got it up on the stands this morning, and we're gonna just make a bit of a game plan now. So what I need to do is Model A front wishbone. I'm going to use this for my rear radius arm. I'm gonna make a mount for the back. It's gonna fix to the axle. We're gonna weld it there, and we're gonna call it a day. All right, now, before everyone, you know, makes a huff and a puff about there's going to be binding and stuff like that, yes, you are correct. This is what would happen. Usually you would try and get back up into this fixed point, and I would fix it straight to here, even utilizing the original Model A mounts, and try and make something. But as you can see, I do not have the room. I do not want to make a drop-down bracket that comes off that holds them. Also, where I'm going to mount them, which is right here, which is right in line with the pivot point of the knuckle itself. So it is, yes, going to be a little bit lower. It would be amazing if I just put it straight in right there. Straight would be in line this way and in line this way. But I'm going to sacrifice it a little bit and move it down and bolt it underneath, because I do want it to be symmetrical to the other one as well. Also, the suspension is going to be probably taped down, like with binding tape, to make it a little bit tighter as well. And it's going to lower it down a little bit more too. So yes, for the future, there will be a slight bit of fighting between this and the radius arms. I realize that, but I'm going to do it anyways, because there's literally be barely any suspension travel in the back of this. Because if there were more, this diff would want to come up, and it would take my whole bottom out. My ass would have a very nice print of this torque tube. So I totally understand. I would suggest not doing it if you were going to have something with lots of suspension travel, even turning, even putting load on one tire to the other. There is going to be a little bit of a trick, but I think it'll be okay. And it's just a race car going around some clay. So, you know, what's the worst that's going to happen? Spin out and, you know, do crazy things? Maybe, but we'll see when that time comes. But anyways, we're gonna make some mounts. We're gonna get these fixed on, and then we're gonna work on the steering. We're gonna get some hoops put in, try and get that steering box mounted, and then we're gonna move on to the next one on the list. So we just wanna tick boxes as we're going. So let's get into it. This new microphone we got, hopefully the quality's good, but it's pretty annoying to wear. Okay, first off, I went and I measured the axle tubing where I want to mount it, and it's kind of on an angle. So it's around 75 mil. What I want to do is I have some 10 mil thick steel. I want to take this Model A wishbone and I'm going to just notch it out so that we can slide a piece in. I'll drill 2 holes so I can rosette weld it, and basically it'll come out. I'll just grab a marker and show you, have one in my pocket. It's gonna sit in naturally like this. It'll come out and it'll have something like this. Kind of like a 36 rear radius arm. Basically, I'm just copying that. So I think it'll work totally fine. Actually, I have a 36 radius arms. Let me have a look. This might be a way better idea. I don't know if that's gonna be where we'd want it though, but no, that wouldn't work. Well, it would work, but it's kind of a waste. I need those for the Roadster. So anyways, this is kind of the idea that we're gonna go for. So we're gonna have the axle here, and then we'll make a mount that'll weld to the axle, something similar, like that. 2 holes. This plate will come through into the axle itself. I will do a hole for a rosette weld, and then we'll be able to make a full pass all the way around. That way, this will mount directly underneath the axle tubing itself, and this is still level with the frame rail, which is awesome. So both of those will be directly level coming off the bottom of the frame. Okay, I need to cut this. Okay, all right, so that's our 90 degrees. Let's just go straight in the center, do a line. All right, so we got the cardboard template cut out, and what I'm gonna do is notch out the Model A wishbone so this slides in, and then basically that'll just get welded all the way around. Very similar, will sit underneath the axle. The spacing I did for the bolts is basically the exact same as a 39 rear radius rod that I was considering using, but because I had these Model A wishbones, I want to use them up and keep those for another project. So I'm just gonna take you over to the car and show you what I mean. All right, so once these are welded in, basically it's gonna mount directly under the axle like this, and I'll have like another little mount that'll match the cardboard one that will fix to the axle, and this will bolt up to it using the 2 bolts. And I'll try and get the angle of it the exact same as the front, just so that everything aesthetically is the same. And we will try and get the pivot point on the front obviously as close to the pivot of the drive shaft. So we got some steel here, and I'm just gonna, it's 10 mil thick. We're gonna lay these cardboard templates out and cut around them using the plasma cutter. All right, so what I've done is I've notched this out 10 mil, I've gone in 55 mil, and that's going to allow me now to put this all the way in. I'll get this square and then I'm gonna weld around here like that, and then this bit will make another little piece off here that will go to the actual axle itself, and then this will sit level with the other one. So I've cleaned it up, so right now I'm just gonna get this all square in here. We're gonna weld this, and then we'll hold it into place and see what it looks like. So we got it welded into place. Looks pretty good. Just got to play around with what I'm going to do here. I'll probably just end up filling it, maybe do a pass or two on it, but yeah, I'll maybe just press it down a little bit and then just weld it. Simple, keep it easy, but I think that'll do the trick. All right, so I've just cut this, drilled for the rosette welds. Sorry, that loud noise in the background is the door again. I've beveled the edge so the bung will go in there and we can weld it in. And then on the back side, we are going to just notch this out and we will be able to slide that piece in. So here I have one already finished. So we got the bung in there, comes down to the end, and then that's our piece there. So then we'll now make the other piece to this that'll fix to the axle. So we're gonna notch this one out, weld this piece in, get them both finished, and then we'll make the other two pieces. Hole saw, size of the axle tube. And what I'm gonna do is just make some little brackets and I'll split this in half. So basically I'll utilize this hole to make two pieces, and it saves me having to use the plasma cutter and file it and sand it all out. So let's hold this up. We'll make some scribe points, drill some holes for the mounting, and then we'll start to draw it out. finished. Basically, power went out yesterday, unfortunately. So I had to use the hand drill, but we were able to get these drilled out. This is the piece that we will weld to the diff. And then basically it comes under, hoops around, and then bolts in. So that is going to be fixed right up, and then we'll tack these into place and leave them tacked for now until we take the body and everything off, and then I'm just got the bare chassis, and I'll finish welding all the bits and pieces before I start to do primer and paint. These are going to go in there right now. So basically it's going to go something like that. It's going to mount there. I will probably, I don't know if I should bring it right out to the edge and do a pass, or if I should kick it in kind of like that one. It was a bit kicked in. I may end up doing that as well just to match it. But I got the tie rod in probably a third of it's hanging out and the rest is inside. So there's still tons of thread there just in case, but I think it'll be fine with what we're trying to do. And yeah, I'll just put the level on this and try and get it as close to level as possible. It might actually sit up a little bit just from where I've cut it. But even if we kind of set that back, just sit down. And then yeah, that's basically, well, right where it is now is directly in line with the pivot of the transmission. No, it's not in line this way. It's about right there. I could cut and weld this and stick it in like that, but. So, I'm gonna pull the welder up. I'm gonna try and hold this into place with maybe some tape, and we'll get it, yeah, into place. Well, it certainly looks good. Definitely kind of matches the front to back. Even if I go like this. This one does slope down slightly. It's actually 3 degrees. The tabs I made where I wanted to fit it on the axle didn't really allow much room. I know it's not the end of the world. Probably aesthetically, I would have liked it to be perfectly parallel with this one. But everything's just tacked into place right now. So what I'll do is I'll get the motor in, the proper one that's going in here. We'll get all the accessories on it, get the radiator in, hood on, you know, seat in, all the bits. And then basically I'll just see where this is gonna sit. I wanna make sure that they're sitting properly. I'll double check the caster angle on the front, making sure that it's at least 7 degrees or more, which I think is kind of what we want for this. But yeah, it's pretty neat. I think it really looks good. That's kind of matches the angle to the back. And then underneath I'll be able to do a nice pass, get them welded in, and then this is still removable, and we do have a bit of adjustment with the tie rod, obviously. So there's the other one, so you can kind of have a look. I think it'll do the trick, you know, it's gonna hold it into place. Well, may jump up in it so you guys can see what it looks like. I'll put the hood back on. that's in. Put my motorcycle seat there. I'll jump up on in. Oh, there she is. What do you reckon? I'm pretty excited. I feel like it fits really nice. I'm super happy with the steeling, edge, that 20 by 20 square tubing that we've used to kind of steel out all the way around the edge. I don't know what you'd call that. Yeah, it just really finishes it off. I still have lots of room. I'll be, kind of up here steering. Elbows will be nice and tucked in, which is kind of what I wanted anyways. Still can lean into my corners, so I think it'll be pretty neat. Next up, we got to do the steering. I got the pitman arm for the steering box today. Thank you, Alan and Alex Wells, for sorting that out. That was incredible. Also picked up a motor. That'll be in the next episode. Got the one, it runs, it's right behind the camera. I won't show you yet. That's pretty exciting. Got the 21 studs. It obviously suits, what we're trying to build here in the time frame, and still got a huge list of stuff to do, but we're ticking boxes, and that was a good one. So we got this all steeled out, got the rear radius arms done. For now, I may end up making a bracket to get them level, but I'm just gonna live with it for now. On the next episode, we will be doing cowl steer. We will do rear fuel tank mounting, and probably trying to finish off the rear portion of that body where I created, the back part of it. So that'll be good. Once those are ticked off, we'll probably get the other motor in here, start mocking everything up. We need to do some steering stuff still, suspension, shocks. But yeah, we're getting there. We're really close. We have about under 40 days now. It's probably into the 30s, which I don't want to hear yet, but that's gonna be pretty wild. But anyways, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Probably not the most amazing video to watch, but it's just another step that we're getting to, and crossing off that list, that endless list that keeps coming. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, hit that notifications button, and we'll see you next week on another episode of this race car. And once this is finished, we have some extremely cool projects about to come in, which I'm really excited about. That Roadster that you guys saw me pick up from Canada. I cannot wait to get it. Anyways, we'll see you on the next one.